Welcome to the Just Do It podcast, hosted by Anne Duffy. Dental Entrepreneur Women is here to dive deep and share stories with the mission to inspire, highlight, empower, and connect all women in dentistry.
Well, hi, everybody. It is Anne Duffy, and welcome to the Just Do It podcast. I'm so glad you're here today. And I've got a special guest. She is a new friend, but like we're best friends because we seem to be hanging out all the time, and it's so much fun. I love her energy, her youthfulness, and her eagerness to just bring her wisdom to our industry. She is the outgoing CEO and founder of Dismore Consulting and serves the dental community as a new patient acquisition specialist. Born and raised in Long Island, New York, she's no stranger to working in fast-paced environments that desire business growth. While Deneen started her career in dentistry as the marketing director of 2 practices in Manhattan, she found her entrepreneurial calling after 2 career milestones. She was thrilled after nearly doubling the number of new patients in one practice. Then she led the marketing initiatives of another practice featured on Inc. 5,000 list of American fastest growing companies. Deneen is always eager to connect with other dental professionals and organizations. She is just an amazing young woman. And we're so happy that she moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, right down the street from me. And she's my new neighbor. And again, my new bestie. Please help me welcome Deneen Dismore. Welcome, Deneen.
Hi, Anne. I'm just so excited to do this with you. I have been following the podcast ever since I discovered it. It hasn't even been a full year since I've been a due. My due-versary? What would you even call that? My due anniversary is coming up this fall. So to be here on the podcast with you after doing so much with you, even that event that we went to the other day with Dent Splice or on Academy, it's just been awesome to have it to be a due. It's been awesome to be a due and to have such an experience that you create partially in Charlotte, right here in our stomping grounds. So
I know. Isn't it funny? And we're all over the United States, but for some reason, you decided to go from Manhattan to the West Coast. Was it San Francisco?
I was in Portland, Oregon. Yeah,
okay.
I went from New York to Portland, Oregon. And then I was in the southern part of North Carolina where my mother is. She retired from New York to Wilmington. And then Wilmington was a little too slow for me. So I decided to move up to Charlotte, and it's been amazing. This is my first summer here, though. So we'll see.
Yeah. It's a little hot this week. It's going to be a little hot this week. But yeah, Charlotte is just, for all of you out there that are listening, we ended up here about almost 30 years ago. And we put roots down as soon as we got here. We're like, we're never leaving this place. It's so neat. We're close to the beach. We're close to the mountains. Everything's pretty. It just fits. It fits in really well with the dues, doesn't it?
It does. And it fits in really well with me and my family. I've lived in so many different places. I've had, an experience in Massachusetts when I was in school in Boston. And then I lived in Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia area for a little while. I've lived in Vancouver, Washington. So I'm like just one of those like nomad travelers. But now that I have my son, my little toddler, we've got to, have some roots somewhere. So Charlotte is ticking all my boxes. I'm so happy to be in Charlotte.
And you're close to Wilmington, so that's pretty cool. It was a 3-hour drive or whatever.
Yes.
But I want to talk about your experience because I love the idea that in fact, we were just talking before the podcast about how when you got here, you were still trying to figure out exactly what your target avatar was going to be. What real lane did you want to be in? What specifically did you want to do in your business? So tell us a little bit about how you decided to focus on, which I love this, new patient acquisition as an entrepreneur in your own business and starting out.
Well, as the marketing director of a dental practice, you have to be, if not highly skilled, incredibly knowledgeable about so many different areas, right? So there's many avenues where you can succeed, whether that be the analytical side of things, exploring the data and seeing how you can serve your patients, your staff, and with those hard numbers, those statistics. Then there's social media. You can do content marketing, branding, what kind of vibe are we going for aesthetically as an office, all the way down to, okay, well, what are we giving to our new patients when they walk into the door with a welcome bag? So I love so many different areas of marketing, but as I always say, if you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. So while I do have all these skill sets, I'm like, okay, well, number one, what am I good at? But also, what makes me happy? And for me, growing a practice and really getting them to not only thrive as a business, but thrive in the right direction, doing the things that, especially a new associate, they want to go into a certain vein. I loved growing a practice in that direction where I feel like we were attracting the right patients. They stayed with us because they loved us. And so new patient acquisition is just something that naturally fell into my lap. And I've been running with it, especially in this endeavor, in this venture, and haven't looked back. It's been really rewarding.
Oh my God, I love it. I'll tell you why I like it on so many different levels, because what you just said about bringing an associate in. And so, and also having been, and you have to be grounded in your culture, right? So you bring a new associate in, that kind of changes it up a little bit. And the practice I just retired from just brought in a new associate. And I hope he's listening. I'm going to send this podcast to him because he is looking for his own style so that the patients, love the senior doc, but he's coming in and how does he make his own brand that is authentic and actually fits in with the brand and the culture of the office so that you can build his clientele? Because ultimately, if you're a senior doc, that's what you want. You want that new associate to come in and hit the ground running, building up his own patient base and his own brand. And so often they don't even know that, no one's even asked them anything about what do you want your brand to be? Do you see
Right.
that
I would
your
agree.
clients?
I do. So whether it's a new associate coming in or if you're a practice that's looking to acquire another office, another establishment, right? Blending cultures is so important. Everybody does have to be on the same page. But yes, I do believe that dentists can be kind of underserved in this area when it comes to business. Dentists aren't given a lot of coursework. I was at one event and I believe the average courses that dentists get on business, which is so many things, including branding, right? I think it's one course and I don't even know how many credits that course is. So when you're approaching somebody who, of course, wants to make their mark, they want to grow, they want to really refine their skills and treat and help as many people as possible, how do you do that, right? How do you do that? So I've done a lot of hand-holding when it comes to new associates really looking to expand and to really establish their roots in this practice that they've committed to, right? A lot of dentists become very committed because, they're just excited to work. And when you find a home as a dentist, you find a group that can take you in and you're excited to work with them. It can be even more rewarding when you're actually doing the work that you love. And so being able to really fine tune and really hunker down on who your target audience is, all while complementing the culture that's already existing is crucial. It's critical.
Yeah,
and I
it
help
really
people do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you help people do that. I mean, that is critical. And also I think with your experience, I mean, my gosh, in your bio, it was like, you grew a practice, you doubled a practice's new patient load, I guess, if you will. And they don't know how to even start on that. That seems so big. But I would say that you need someone like you to hold their hand and give them baby steps, give them action steps so that they can do to even get involved in the community and make it and be a strategic move. I mean, we want him to be authentic. I mean, most, the one particular gentleman I'm thinking about, he's just a great guy and he loves dentistry. He has great hand skills. But where does he start?
Right. That's a big question. A lot of the times, so take the first practice that I worked at, for instance. It was in Soho in Manhattan, and Manhattan is a very saturated market. Soho that particular neighborhood is not known for healthcare. New York is, you could have anything anywhere, right? No bets are off. You can have a deli right next to a dentist. That's fine. But Soho is known for their retail. Soho is known for the history and the culture. And even in that particular neighborhood, the way that you do your signage as a way to make sure that you are not violating any building standards, you have to be very particular about how you can do that. You can't just throw up a sign in that particular area. So some people might not even know that you as a business exists if you don't have a strategic way of marketing and branding yourself in a way that is appropriate for the neighborhood. So when I had this dental practice, they didn't have anybody that was designated or dedicated to marketing at all. So that was not so much a mistake. Number one, it was an area that they knew they wanted to grow in, but they couldn't pull a hygienist. They couldn't pull a dental assistant. They couldn't pull an associate to focus on this, either because they didn't have the skill set or because they didn't have the desire to do that. So really having somebody to walk and guide these clinical professionals into making their mark and branding themselves is something that I highly, highly, highly recommend. And then there's strategies that you do have to adopt. Number one, we already talked about it, is you have to really define your audience, who you're talking to, because again, if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. So you can't just speak to everybody from age 12 to age 65. There are family practices, but who are you as an associate known for? Who are you speaking to? And how can you attract that person to you? And then also with visibility, that's another thing. There's a lot of associates. Sometimes they're not featured on their website just yet. They don't have somebody to write their bio, which can honestly just be something that's curated from a resume. They don't have a Google listing that's claimed for them as an individual and ties with the practice. Sometimes an associate's hired, but if you're participating with an insurance provider, just making a clear distinction of who your providers are in your office that accept this particular insurance. There's just low visibility, your social media. I mean, I can go on and on for days. This is what I'm passionate about, Anne.
Man, I can really see it coming out. And I'm like tracking with you too. I'm like, yes. And
even
that's interesting.
Card even business cards, assuming that business cards are your thing, QR codes, being visible digitally, on just having a way to not only be visible, but a simple, easy way to get people to connect with you is something that is missed by a lot of people. If I can't see you, if I can't find you, then I can't go to you unless somebody happens to say something when I'm inside the office.
Yeah, I mean, that makes so much sense. And the real priceless piece here to me is start sooner than later. I will tell you that I looked at this website recently because I forget why I was on it. This was this week. He was not on there. He was not on the website. Yes. I was on the website. Yes. I was on the website and I retired in 2020. Okay. So, and we're in 2022. And then again, like how many times have we branded, or I'm just seeing decorating. We buy a sofa, for instance. I mean, maybe I'm digressing, but we're women on here. You buy a sofa, you have it delivered, and it's way too big for the room you delivered it for. But if I would have used a decorator that knows how to measure or knows the size of my room and all that, then I would have saved myself a lot of money and a lot of angst for like having to live with this thing for like at least 10 years because I don't redecorate very often and I'm not going to send it back. My point about that, Deneen, is that you're an expert. You have proven it by your experience and what you have done. You're certainly passionate about it, right? So you know your stuff, and you read everything you can about it, and you talk to everybody that you know in the industry to help you with that. And you are going to set them on. They will save so much money working with you to get the right signage, the right branding, the right cards, the right look on the website, the Google thing, all of those things. Like again, sooner than later, right out of the chute. It makes so much sense.
Right. A lot of the times you don't know what you don't know, right? And so there's a lot of professionals who look at marketing as another expense as opposed to an investment. You can have a good return on your investment if you're very strategic and mindful about the ways that you invest your time, money, and resources. And so a lot of the times, there's service providers out there, or there's people who are DIY dentists.
Right.
It's not a term that I like to use, but they're trying to do it themselves because perhaps they are familiar with social media. Perhaps, yes, they know how to put up a simple website.
Well, they might get lucky.
Right. But when it comes time to, especially to elevate and you've established yourself as a proven provider with solid clinical skills, but nobody knows who you are because you did your website by yourself. So you're not coming up on the Google listing very often, or perhaps, what used to work for you when you were a smaller entity and you didn't have as many patients or as many staff members, that's not a sustainable system anymore. Now that you've grown as an author, you can kind of outgrow yourself. And so really being mindful of investing in professionals that can really elevate your practice is advice. Any professional, it doesn't matter if it's marketing or not. I am passionate about marketing. I'm rooted as a marketing strategist in what I do. But yeah, there's professionals out there that can really help you save a lot of time, a lot of money, and time, especially something that we can't get back. Nobody's going to remember you for spending 10 hours on your website to get one page done.
Exactly. That's, you think about, they get one business class and they probably didn't even talk about branding on that. Right. So, those are the things that, let's lean into someone that lives and breathes it all day long and can do these things in a short period of time. And the other thing I'm thinking, sooner than later, great, but there's never a bad time to start. There's never, today's the day, tomorrow's the day, or whatever. You make your decision. Okay, so I'm going to start doing it differently.
Exactly. You can update your LinkedIn profile. You can put together a resume or put together a quick little, just like a little biography, a little something, so that when you walk into an office, worst case scenario, you got a headshot, you have a quick little mini description about you, what you do, and a couple of fun facts. And you have a LinkedIn profile so that if people are looking for you, at least they can find you on some kind of an online platform and know where you work. and yeah, Facebook pages, the sky's the limit.
There's so many things. I mean, boy, I can't wait to give out your information for all those that are listening to us today. We're going to put this on Dental Entrepreneur. I mean, this is really great for our dental entrepreneur audience as well, because they've got the innovators, they've got people that are delivering new equipment, new ideas. And how do you launch it? I mean, you really, what comes first, the branding and the marketing or the product, right? I mean, so that all kind of comes together. But if you're going to make a launch, you need to have it branded properly. And there's something about somebody reading a bio and knowing that, and it's going to click with you, right? I mean, the boring bio is, and those were always my bios. Boring.
It's so common. Yeah, it's everywhere.
And it's like, oh, snore. Let me go to sleep on this, because I don't really care all that, like every organization that you belong to. What's happening now in your life? And someone like you, I've seen you take over wording and verbiage. I mean, you are a little bossy. I'm not going to say, but that's a do for you. I said, and bossy in the nicest sense of the word, because I know I'm bossy. So the one bossy lady can talk to another bossy lady, because we're leaders and we know what works, right? But I've seen you take over, and all of you may have seen Deneen take over my social media at the Hinman this year. And it was like amazing. And I mean, I didn't even know what she was.
I believe my words was, and give me your phone.
Exactly. And that's
so polite and so New York of me. Give me your phone. and you're so sweet. Okay.
No, I'm so happy to give you my phone. I'm like, here, take it, please. But there again, that's so funny, because that does sound like a bossy little, a bossy dude, doesn't I shouldn't say that, but it's just so funny because, but I saw your fingers go on that thing and you're like, blah, 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 and
that's right.
Then I had this amazing social media day, and all the engagement and the insights like soared, everybody. So just remember, this is why we use professionals and why we use someone that really knows what they're doing and is passionate about it. And your whole goal. What is your goal for somebody when you start with them? What's the goal? New patients, of course.
My goal for anybody that I'm working with is to be an industry leader, is to really define and help them develop not only who they are as a people, but who they are individually as a brand. And I think that gets lost a lot on clinical professionals. And this is not any insult to them at all whatsoever, because there are a lot of responsibilities than being fun and funny when you have a patient in your chair, right? You have to keep the lights on. There's continuing education that must be minded. There's technology. You have to be a solid clinical professional. Your skills have to be there. So when it comes to things like branding, it can get lost because of the responsibilities that it takes to be a successful business person who is a clinical professional, right? But people don't come to you because you're a dentist. People come to you because they like you, because they bought into your brand, because they bought into who you are, how you represent yourself, and how not only you as a clinical professional makes them feel and has to offer them, but the rest of your team is also a reflection of that as well. And so a lot of the times, you have these clinical professionals that get lost in the science and the statistics and the data. And it's like, no, but you're a human. And the person's coming back to you because they like you. They have a relationship with you. And their goal is not to just find the best deal when it comes to their teeth. Are you kidding me? Their smiles, their comfort. They're buying into the dentist.
The trust also, right? Trusting.
The absolute. Not only, the trust of you and your team. And so walking them through the process where it's like, no, you're not just an owner. You're not just a dentist. Those are capes that we put on, right? Those are identities that we wear. But no, you're a person that I enjoy, that I trust, that I know is going to, what is the saying? Under promise and over deliver. And that's why they keep on coming back. So that relationship and those personal and emotional connections are really what I drive home, so that yes, they can establish themselves as an industry leader and as an authority in whatever market that they're serving, regardless of their specialty.
That sounds so much bigger than just, getting patients in, though, doesn't it? I mean, I dare say that I would say dentists want to be an industry leader in their own town, a prophet in your own town, and also in the industry. I mean, it's so important. And yet that's a missing piece a lot of times in their mind, because they get so focused on what they're doing day to day in that little teeny space, right? But it's so much bigger than that. And it gives them so much more happiness and fulfillment in their careers, especially because you said this a lot. You're a person, but you have to be authentic. And so you have to first, I know you get down to the deep soul of that person, find their authentic self, and then build from there. And everybody's got a little bit of a secret sauce. And that's your job, I guess, to pull that out.
Yes, to identify what their superpower is, and then grow based on their strengths and who they are, and do it with integrity. Do it with integrity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's just sweet. That's awesome.
Look at me preaching on the podcast. Okay.
I know. Well, no wonder you're so excited about it. I mean, I just love it. And I mean, I guess when you start in with them, they ask you to do all sorts of things besides helping acquire new patients, because you're good at all that. And I guess that's branding. But what else do they ask you to do when they start working with you? Or what else do you like to do with them?
Yeah, so every practice is unique. And a lot of the times it really just comes down to what the dentist value. And so a lot of the times the dentist value, they understand that they need a website, but they understand that their website's there, but it's not to their liking. So I don't necessarily build the website, but I point them in the right direction of who can help them with coming up on Google or top search engines faster. Other times they say, okay, we're a cohesive office, but we don't look like a cohesive office. Sometimes they as a brand look kind of hodgepodge, and so then I can point them in the right direction when it comes to being cohesive as a group and being professional, especially when it comes to things like case acceptance and treatment presentation. If you don't look like $1 million and you're asking somebody to invest in you, at a higher price point, right?
Yes.
Just helping them to refine that is something that I'm asked. But, I'll kind of dip into this. One of my favorite things to do is to work on company culture or business culture. Sometimes I go in, and dentistry is a bleeding heart profession, right? So a lot of the times people are passionate and there are varying personalities. And so a lot of the times I have to teach them positive reinforcement. I have to teach them how to give others benefit of the doubt, whether it is a patient or a coworker, and to really do a lot of hand holding and walking them through, okay, how are we going to handle all these influx of new patients with grace, but how do we speak to each other and how do we support this investment that our practice owner has gotten us into? So I really come in, and it's a team effort, right? If not everybody's on the same page and has a thorough understanding of not only what we're doing, but why it's important, it can really throttle your marketing efforts. So
no kidding. Yeah. What if you get 100 new patients the first week you do your amazing marketing thing and you don't know how to handle it, and they come once, but they don't stay.
That's right.
For the next visit, right? I mean, so it does have to start at one point and then carry through. And the other thing that you say it so sweetly is because it's not like you're going to redo everything. It's a little tweak, little tweak here, little tweak there. And everybody has the capacity to, we can all have the capacity to find more grace with others and with ourselves, right? So,
it's the 2 millimeter differences that make all the difference. So whether that's how you present yourselves as a team versus how you interact with a colleague of yours is something that I love doing. And then the ultimate goal, as I said, if you're an industry leader, that means that you have a solid team that's supporting you. So hiring professionals that can support that, especially on the marketing side of things, is something that I love to do. Like just handpick a professional that can support the efforts, because at the end of the day, as an industry leader, you need a mini Deneen in your office.
Yes. Oh, did you hear that?
That I'm going to do. But, just helping them to really embrace and hire not only a marketing professional, if that's something that they need, or to really do some training with somebody who's going to be taking over these marketing initiatives once I've stepped away and said, okay, now it's time for you to soar. And then we just get exponentially better based on what we have, like our machine that we have in place.
Yes. So, that's very comforting too, because, and then they can call on you when they need another little tweak or another 2 millimeters of a shift, right? I mean, that's right. That's
if you need a mastery class or a mastery session, a fractional CMO, that's a term that I've bumped into recently. And it's not because I'm not unfamiliar with the term, but I've never really branded myself as a fractional CMO. By the way, a fractional CMO is a fractional chief marketing officer.
Yeah.
And that what that person does is they literally come in for a fraction of time as like a full-time team member, and they do the hard things. You have one problem that really needs addressing, and they need a specialist to come in and address that in a short period of time to maximize their investment. That's something that, the mastery version of my program and my system is something that,
So is that the top thing you would recommend to a dentist who is struggling to get off the ground and to get the new patients in the door? What is the top thing? I guess that's a big dive in, but I mean, I like that idea because it does give them something to like, okay, that's when you're taking your business seriously, right? They have a business. Let's take it seriously. Let's not just keep piddling around and like hope somebody's going to walk through the door. Let's be strategic about it and use a mind like yours.
Right. I don't believe in guessing. That is absolutely not. A lot of the times the marketing is a creative thing, and creatives kind of get pegged as people who are not analytical. That is the exact opposite. I don't go with the vibe or go with the feelings. I go with the hard numbers and I go with an analysis. So to answer your question, if there was something that I would recommend, it would be number one. I've said this before, so I guess this is a 2-for-1. You have to know who you're talking to and speak to them often, speak to them consistently, and speak to them with a place of authority. If you don't have the confidence, fake it till you make it, because that's attractive. That's what's going to bring people to you. You're talking to this one person from a place of confidence, and you're doing it regularly and offering them some value as you do it, right? Second thing is, once you defined who you are and what you're going to do. It's to master one thing at a time. You eventually will have a marketing program. You eventually will have a portfolio where your brand is cohesive and you have your online listing, your advertising, your customer relationship management software going. But if you're not mastering one thing at a time, it's so easy for nothing to be succeeding. So you have all these investments all over the place, but we don't know what's going on. We're not really analyzing. We think it's kind of working, but what's good, what's not. No. One thing at a time. I found that if I can find what the root of the issue is and say, okay, we're going to attack this area first, that amazingly, other areas start to improve because it's a trickle down effect, right? And there's other areas that can benefit residually from you mastering that one area at a time. It doesn't matter if it's social media. It doesn't matter if it's branding, your customer relationship management, the logistics within your office, the systems that you have to make sure that patients not only know how to find you, but keep coming back to you. Master one area at a time.
Oh, yeah. I love that. That's strategic. If you're hearing this, it's no pain, no gain. You got to start, right? But also,
that's right.
But one step in front of the other. It's little like baby steps, but you end up getting to be a run, and then it's easy, then it's fun, and then it just is. It's you all the way, authenticity all the way, inside out and all around, and that's really what you want to live to build. In your practice, so that when you are finished with your practice, you can look back and say, well, wasn't that fabulous? Wasn't that fabulous? And then gift it and lead the next generation to come in and carry on what you've built. I love that because it's kind of like it flows all the way through and it means something. It means more than just
I love
going
that
to
you
work.
said that too. Yeah. And honestly, high achievers they forget to celebrate.
Yeah.
And so when you say, oh, look at that, we did that, that's another thing that's missed in company culture a lot. You've mastered something. You went to the conference and you are now bringing back something to your patients. Celebrate that. Tell people about that. And do it not only by yourself, right? Because high achievers, we can be so hard on ourselves. There can be some perfectionist tendencies. There can be just so many things that you want to accomplish, all while being a family member, right? Because we have life outside of what we do for a living. But celebrating, it's something that I'm working on myself. But if I did have anything that I'd want to leave, it's just like, yes, we can. Yes, we did. And now we're going to do it again from a place of strength because now we know more than we did the day before, the week before, the year before.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. You're beautiful. I love that. Thank you for joining me today, Deneen. I'm going to take that. I'm going to celebrate this weekend a little bit. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'm not finished with the day yet. And I'm going to find something I'm celebrating this because this was really, really fun having you on. I learned a lot today. And I know that our listeners are learning a lot from you as well. So Deneen, tell us how people can get in touch with you. I would love them to reach out. I mean, again, she's in the Do community also. Check her out on our Instagram takeover that she did, and some of the articles that she's writing for us. How can everybody get in touch with you, Deneen?
Well, the easiest way, because my name, phonetically speaking, it can be a little hard, but dental marketing _consultant is my Instagram handle. My name is Deneen Dismore. My website name is my name, DeneenDismore.com. And then my email is consulting@DeneenDismore.com. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure Anne's going to have my name and my spelling and everything, but I want to give you some options.
Yeah, we'll have the link in the bio. Yeah, but it's good to hear it out loud. And I'm so proud of you. You've really zeroed in on being your authentic self and knowing what you want. And now you're going after it. So, kudos to you. And Deneen, like everybody else that's listening here, keep doing you. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Anne, for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Just Do It podcast, hosted by Anne Duffy. To learn more about dental entrepreneur women, to share your story, or to join the movement, please visit our website, do.life. That is DEW.life. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app to make sure you don't miss an episode. And in the meantime, keep doing you.